And Ms. Alvarado, how long have where you been working at?
I am a scientist at the Jefferson County Regional Crime Lab.
How long have you been working there?
Approximately 18 years.
And what do you do there at the Jefferson County Crime Lab?
I process physical evidence that's submitted by a laboratory for blood or ethanol.
And as far as that, what kind of training did you receive to become a forensic analyst?
So there was a lot of very extensive training. So I started by reading a variety of materials that gave me the basic understanding on the theories and the procedures of the lab. After that, I had to observe qualified scientists in the field for a period of time, and that gave me the more detailed understanding to take a competency examination. And after I passed my competency, I ended up doing casework under the direct supervision of my trainers. And then after I felt comfortable that I knew the work, they released me to perform casework on my own. So in addition to internal training, I've had several external trainings too.
And have you testified as an expert in the area blood alcohol toxicology before?
I have,
Okay. And is that on few or many occasions?
let's say several.
Okay. And does that include testimony in the courts of this county?
Yes,
And are you licensed by the Texas Forensic Science Commission?
I am.
And were you licensed on the date of February 14th, 2022?
Yes, I was.
Showing you a mark as State's Exhibit 4. You recognize what this is?
Yes.
And what is that?
This is a blood kit that's submitted to our lab for analysis. It has our unique lab number, our unique exhibit that we assign it, and my initials.
And so you have your initials there, and it's also on the tape right here that seals this,
Correct.
and your initials at the top there with your lab number.
With the date that I submitted.
And inside of here, what about? Do you recognize those?
Yes, I do.
And what is that?
This is one of the blood vials that's included in the kit.
And there's actually two vials in there. Did you do any testing on both of these vials?
Just the one.
Okay. And you leave the other vial sealed?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And so this one that you're holding right there, is that the one you tested?
Yes.
Okay. And what's the defendant or the individual's name that blood was drawn on?
I'm Core Patel.
And are your initials also on that blood vial?
Yes. So it also has our lab number, my exhibit, and my initials.
So you put that on there and then also just essentially the seal that to keep it as far to show that that's the vial you actually tested the mark.
Yes, I marked the vial that I test, and I also indicated in my case file.
Is that the same number you put on the outside of the box here, the testing kit?
Yes.
And after you perform the testing on this vial, did you compile a report?
I did.
Okay. And I'm showing you what's going to start mark the state's exhibit number 8. Do you recognize that?
I do.
And what is that?
This is the report I generated as a result of my analysis.
Does that report contain the same also lab case number as what's on this the box here, the testing kit,
Yes.
and also the same court author PD case number that's on this box here?
May I see the box, please? Yes.
And is that your name there, signed in an affidavit below at the end of the report there?
Yes, it is.
Is that a true and accurate copy of the report that you completed there on March 28, 2022.
Yes.
And also attached along with it is what is this sheet?
So this sheet is a submission form that the agencies have to fill out whenever they submit evidence into our laboratory. Whenever they arrive, our lab techs usually review the information to make sure that the case number and the transporting officers are correct, and they indicate whether the evidence was in a sealed condition or not.
That also a true and accurate copy of the form that was filled out there, submission form there by the lab.
Yes.
Your Honor, Dr. State's Exhibit number 4 and number 8.
Your Honor, I believe the predicate's been laid for states number 4. We have no objection.
It is admitted.
And also with states exhibit number 8, we have no objection.
And states exhibit 8 is admitted.
And that's the public at this time.
Okay.
So up here at the top in South Morano, it says March 28th, 2022.
The other one. Yeah, there we go. Thank you so much.
Is that the date that you completed the testing on this?
So may I look back to my notes,
Yes,
please? Thank you. So that would be the date that I completed the report.
This is the report after you performed the testing on it.
Yes.
And then the laboratory number, is that up there on the right-hand side?
Yes.
What were the results of the testing?
The sample contained 0.213 plus or minus 0.014 grams of ethanol in whole blood.
And can you kind of explain what the whole blood is for the jury?
So whole blood is usually the specimen they take in order to, whenever there's a suspicion that ethanol was involved, the whole blood. They take the whole blood because if they take serum or plasma, it usually has more water, so the concentration is different and you would have to convert it. So they just usually whole blood.
So you tested it for that, and we always hear the 0.08 as the limit for alcohol here in the state. Is that what we're looking at there? The same, the grams of ethanol per milliliter?
Yes.
Okay. And what instrument and what process kind of did you use to test the blood there?
So we use an instrumentation called GCFID, which stands for gas chromatography flame ionization detectors. So a mouthful, right? So basically, we start with a sample. We put the sample in a very tightly sealed container. That sample gets heated and pressurized. If volatile or if ethanol is present, it would turn into a gas phase, and then we sample the gas phase, transfer it to what we call the GC, that's chromatography, and it enters into another part of the instrument. We think of it as an oven. So the oven has 2 coils, which we call columns, with detectors at the end. So as the sample is moving through those coils, it's separating until it reaches the detectors. Once it reaches the detectors, that detector turns the components into an electrical signal that's displayed by a computer.
Okay. And was the instrument that you used working properly that you used to test this blood?
Yes.
And did you follow the protocol for testing the blood using that instrument?
Yes.
Does your lab there, you'll have a protocol that you go through for testing all the blood there at the lab?
Yes.
Let's talk about absorption of alcohol. Is there an absorption rate for alcohol?
There's not an absorption rate.
Okay. And can you kind of explain that to the jury?
Sure. So absorption is basically getting ethanol from outside the body into the body. There's no absorption rate because it differs from individual to individual and sometimes within the same individual at different times.
So a lot of factors could contribute to the actual absorption rate, such as eating food, different things like that.
Eating food is one of them.
Okay. Now, as far as your body removing alcohol, what is the kind of the rate on that?
The elimination rate
Yeah.
is usually 0.01 to 0.03 grams per 100 mils.
So if, let's say someone was stopped at 2:40 a.m.
Okay.
and they blood was drawn at approximately 4:35 a.m., which is an hour and 55 minutes
Yeah.
after they were initially stopped. And they were drinking vodka and cranberry. If they said they had 3 drinks, what would you expect the blood alcohol concentration to be?
Hold on.
Your Honor,
Let's do that math again on the time. Can you tell me about go over when the defendant was stopped and when the blood was drawn again?
The defendant was stopped at 2:40 a.m. approximately, and the blood was drawn at 4:35 a.m.
Okay. So. All right, so that's a little less than 2 hours.
1 hour and 55 minutes, yes, sir. And now, what would you expect if an individual would drink 3 vodka and
I think it's
cranberries?
1 hour and 53 minutes.
Your Honor, we would object to her giving an opinion as to what the blood alcohol content was when Mr. Patel was stopped. They're getting into retrograde. It's
Extrapolation.
Thank you. And, they haven't laid the proper predicate to even begin to know what it might have been back then.
If this witness is capable of making that determination and testifying about that matter, this court would find that to be relevant. And then it would be up to the jury to determine how much reliability and how much weight to be given to it. But the record must show that she is competent to make that determination and to testify in that regard. For the objection made by the defense, Mr. Makel's objection is sustained, but I will allow the state to form a predicate for the admissibility of this matter.
Well, if an individual had stated that 20 minutes prior to being stopped that they had their last drink, which was a cranberry and vodka, according to that individual. If they had said that, what is usually the peak rate of a defendant's alcohol concentration in their level after they've drank their last drink?
Your Honor, we would renew our objection. We don't believe.
Do you know the answer to that?
So
Based
without,
upon your training and experience?
right, so without the exact time frame, extrapolation, it's not very valuable, I would say, in this scenario. Now, what I can say is that absorption usually occurs within most of the peak, 80%, I would say, within 15 minutes.
So 80% of the peak of their absorption, if somebody drank their last drink, 20 minutes ago, it would have been at that 15 minutes.
Within 15, 20 minutes, everyone almost achieves 80% of their peak.
And Mr. Patel said that, told the officer that he had finished drinking his last drink 20 minutes prior to being stopped at 2:40 a.m. So it'd been 2:20 a.m. So within 15 minutes of drinking that, 80% of his peak would have been reached. And then the blood wasn't drawn until exactly 2 hours after that 15 minutes then.
Mhm.
And how many drinks to get to that level of 0.213 that you tested? Do you have a guess as to how many drinks you would have to drink to get to that level?
Your Honor, we would review our objection. He's asking her to guess whether it's in general terms or whether it relates to Mr. Patel. And this trial is.
Can
not
you
Mr. Patel.
rephrase?
Yes,
Because I've seen some drinks this big and some things this small. So let's quantify so that the witness can have a quantifiable set of determinations to make. Go ahead.
And are you able to make a determination on the approximate amount of drinks it would take to get to the 0.213 that Mr. Patel had, based on what is there a size of drink that you used to get to that number or to tally that?
So assuming that absorption was completed and he was in the elimination phase, it would take approximately between 7 to 11 drinks to get to the level of 0.213 plus or minus 0.014.
And you say drinks, what size drinks or what amount of alcohol in there to get to that?
We are basing it on standard drinks. So for example, beer or 1.5 ounces of spirit or a normal average glass of wine. So an average drink.
So that's what you'd be basing that number off of. And you said it would take 7 to 8 normal drinks like that to get to that level.
So on the lower end and on the upper end, it would take about 7 to 11 drinks.
Have you had training, in your training, do they teach you about the effects of alcohol on the body and what it can do? And
Yes.
okay. And what kind of effects does alcohol, can it have on individual and the way they, act or able to perform or, move around?
So everyone's different and the effects for everyone will be different. But basically it starts by affecting your cognitive skills, so your judgment, your reasoning. After that, it moves on to affecting your affecting motor skills, so your peripheral vision. If it continues on, then it can affect your involuntary movements, which is let's say your heart rate or your breathing.
And with the level that you've tested there, that's well over 2 times the legal limit there. Is that correct?
0.213 is over.
Just-
the legal limit.
Yes. Absolutely.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Pronounce your last name again.
It's Altamirano. So without rolling my R's.
Is it okay if I just call you Emily?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, well, you've got this 213 at 435. Can you tell this jury an exact number that the blood test was at 240?
So without knowing the last name of drink, I cannot give you an exact number. The only thing I can offer is to say that 80% of that biggest reach.
Okay. And what are some things that might affect the absorption rate?
Absorption rate. So food is the major one. However, most of the, whether you're in a fasted or in a fed state, your absorption, will be completed within 30 to 40 minutes.
Okay, what if the person ate a full meal of Indian food? Is that going to affect the absorption rate?
So it would still be the same regardless of whether you ate, a large meal. On a large meal, you still will be absorbed between 30 to 40 minutes.
Going to do something. Can you tell the court what you're about to do so I can make a ruling on it?
Your Honor, I'm going to draw a drawing here showing the absorption and elimination rate for the average human being and ask her a few questions about that.
Okay, good. It looks like Mount Everest. Go ahead.
This side here would be the absorption rate, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and then any human being starts eliminating alcohol. Is that correct?
So the peak will be, the top of the mountain would be the peak. And then the other side would be the elimination.
Okay. And so you're testifying that Mr. Patel was in what rate at 2:40 a.m.?
So at 2:40 a.m., which would be the time of stop,
Yes.
I cannot tell you exactly where he is on the curve. What I can tell you is that he was probably still absorbing.
Okay, excuse me. Probably
Correct.
because you don't know for sure.
No, I do not know for sure.
Now, on state's exhibit number 8, which is really dealing with the blood kit, state's exhibit number 4. State's exhibit number 4 was submitted to you when?
It was submitted to our laboratory on February 24.
Okay, do you know where the blood test kit was right before it was submitted to you?
No, I don't.
Okay. After it was submitted on the 24th of February, where was it?
After it was submitted, it was to our lab, so I went ahead and checked it out. It was under my custody until I completed all analysis, and then it was released back to the agency.
Okay, but when you had it, did you put it on a shelf or, in your desk or where?
No, it was in my custody in a sealed lockbox, which I only have the key to.
Okay, and that sealed lockbox is refrigerated?
Yes.
Okay. Why is it refrigerated?
Refrigeration, in order to prevent any ethanol loss or any microbial growth.
Things that could affect the blood.
Yes,
Okay, and refrigeration, I'm not going to say stops it, but would actually slow it down if it needed to.
that's correct.
Correct, okay. And so you put it in there and it stayed in your custody for how many days?
So it stayed in my custody for approximately, from March 15 to March 28.
Well, I thought you said your lab got it on February 24th.
They did, so once.
Where did it go from February 24th to your custody? Where was it?
Okay, so whenever the kid is submitted to our lab, it got submitted on the 24th of February. After the lab takes, intake the kid, they go ahead and place it in a refrigerator. Once I'm ready to analyze that case, I check that case out to myself, assign it to myself. And then once I'm finished analyzing it, I put it back to where, for the agency to get picked up.
Okay, now this refrigerator, it goes into, is it a locked refrigerator or does anyone have access to it?
So the lock refrigeration area that I just, once I open the kit, no, I'm the only one that has access to that.
No,
area.
before that, when it's just in the general refrigerator.
Yes, it's in our vault area and only employees have access to.
Okay, but all the employees have access to it.
Yes.
Okay. Now, with respect to the blood vials inside states number 4, what's all in here?
A blood tube.
Okay. And inside the blood tube, there's a bunch of, I'm going to call it packing. Is that what it is? Or
The liner that's.
the liner? Yes.
Mhm.
What's that for?
If there's a crack, let's say, or it breaks, then that's, the liner is supposed to absorb some of it.
Okay, so it would keep it clean. Now, if you opened a lab blood kit and found a vial that had been cracked for some reason, what would you do?
I would definitely contact the agency, and not perform analysis on it.
That was my thing. Good. But here, it wasn't cracked, was
No, the bioform recommendations.
it? Okay. And you tested it, and I apologize, I've lost that date. When did you test the blood kit?
So the blood kit was tested on, there was assigned to me on March 15th, and then it was tested, on March 23.
So it stayed in the big refrigerator from February 24th to March 15th?
Correct.
Okay. And then after March 15th, you had
Yes.
custody of it. Okay. And from your testing, all you did the report in states number 8 on March 28th,
Yes.
correct? We've talked about the blood kit and the vial, but let's talk about Mr. Patel. Would his health be a factor that might enter into any of this
Into
blood test?
the blood test. I'm not quite sure.
Okay. But his body is going to determine that absorption rate and that elimination rate, correct?
Elimination rate is individual to the person.
To the person, okay. And you don't know what that is to Mr. Patel, do you?
So the average, which is mostly actually everyone falls between 0.01 to 0.03 elimination rate. There
Okay,
is no absorption rate.
okay, but you don't know what Mr. Patel's was.
During what point?
The elimination.
Okay, so we're talking about timeframes. At what point of the time frame are you referring to?
Okay, well, 4:35 a.m.
So between 2:30, which is the time of stop, I believe, and 4:35, which is the collection.
Hold on, let's make sure that's correct. What's the
240,
record?
I believe.
2:40 was the stop.
Oh,
So between the time of stop to the time of collection, it had been almost 2 hours, an hour and 55 minutes. So at that point, I would say that he was in the elimination where he had reached his peak and he was eliminating during that time frame.
Now, in arriving at all of your figures, you assumed that his drinks were 1.5 ounces of whatever spirit in the mix was. Is that correct?
No, so arriving at a figure of 0.213, I didn't assume anything. I tested, and that's what it was at that point that I tested.
Okay, I thought you testified that the average drink that a person has 1.5 ounces of spirits in it.
No, I testified that the average drink is considered to be 1.5 ounces. So the figures I gave you earlier were based on average drinks and not necessarily directly concerning 1%.
Well, you testified that Mr. Patel had 7 to 11 drinks.
I testify that in order for you to reach this level, a person must consume between 7 to 11 drinks.
are you talking about drinks 1.5?
Which are average drinks,
Okay.
yes, the average drinks.
But you don't know what the drinks were that Mr. Patel.
And no, I don't.
Now, you weren't present when the blood was collected from Mr. Patel, were you?
No, I was not.
What would be the normal procedure for blood collection?
I think you would have to refer to whoever collected the blood.
Okay. Well, would wiping down the site in alcohol perhaps affect the blood alcohol content?
Not likely.
Huh?
Not likely.
Likely, okay.
Not likely.
Okay. Can you say for sure that it would not affect?
So based on the amount of research that has been done on this topic, it is unlikely for that to affect the ethanol concentration significantly.
Okay, you used several words. Unlikely. I mean, is that a 10% chance, a 20% chance, a 0% chance? What?
I can't give you a percentage on statistics of unlikely. I don't know what that would be.
Okay. I'll pencil it.
Now, the isopropyl alcohol, is that what someone may use to wipe or clean an area before they take blood?
From my understanding, like I said, you would have to refer back to whoever did the collection. They normally would use iodine. In some cases, they may use an alcohol wipe.
And the testing there that y'all perform is for ethanol, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you said if Mr. Patel said his last drink was 20 minutes prior to his encounter with the officer at 2:40 a.m., would you agree that his last drink was then at 2:20 a.m.? if he said it was 20 minutes prior to 2:40.
Yes, that's what it sounds like.
And you said that the peak of alcohol levels in an individual is 15 minutes. They reach 80% of that peak within 15 minutes of their last drink, right?
Yes,
Okay. So Mr. Patel would have been at 80% of his peak at 2:35 a.m. then.
so, correct, approximately.
If his last drink was at 2:20 and 15 minutes after that, it'd be 2:35, right?
Okay,
And then he'd been at 80% of his alcohol peak then at that time at 2:35.
yes,
And then he wasn't tested until, let's see, so 2 hours after that.
yes,
When you did receive the vials there, were they still sealed?
yes, they were sealed.
Um, if they weren't sealed or something had been damaged with them, you would have noted that.
Absolutely.
Pass the witness.
Anything else? Go ahead.
Well, what kind of alcohol was used to clean the area to collect the blood on Mr. Patel?
I don't know what was used.
Okay, thank you. Nothing further.
Is this lady excused?
Yes, sure.
You are excused, ma'am. Thank you.
Thanks.
Next, please.
State res, Your Honor.
State rest, what says defense? Your Honor, we would call Mr. Patel. This is for you.